Ole Miss took down the Georgia Bulldogs in the Sugar Bowl 35-34. So I figured, hey, let's find out what the mayor of Corinth thinks all about that. This is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Willis. This is the most watched Ole Miss podcast out there, and thank you for that. I am a 10-year veteran member of the national media with Yahoo Sports and a former member of the Ole Miss staff. You can check me out there. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's now the number one podcast network, sports podcast network in the entire country. So thank you for that. On today's show, we're going to talk with the mayor of Corinth, Tom Vanderford, about the Ole Miss win in the Sugar Bowl, maybe get into the Miami game in the Fiesta Bowl just a little bit because we're like 5 days away from that happening. The team leaves on Tuesday. But I'll talk about what I'm hearing, some rumors and stuff like that, and it should be quite interesting. All of this and more coming up on today's Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Remember, we're free and available on all the podcast apps and on YouTube. And a special hello to the insiders and everydayers who make the show what it is, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Rougiette. If you've been thinking about taking the next step, now is the time. Head to Rougiette.com/LockedOnCollege to get 15% off your order for a limited time. Rougiette ready. Feel present, feel confident, feel ready. All right, Tommy. Listen, that was a fun night. That was a fun night that we will remember for a very, very long time. It had moments, it had the result, it had everything.
Goodness. Yeah. Only had about 5 heart attacks during the game, which for me is
You're not allowed to joke about that, but okay.
It was, dude, I'm telling you. Oh, goodness. You know, it's funny, if you remember, I had a heart attack last year and couldn't watch the Georgia game. And then this year, you know, it's been a while, been 12, 13 months. So, but I'm telling you, man, that was wonderful because we have been on the other end of something like that game so often in my adult lifetime. It was just wonderful. I've watched it multiple times. I've watched it in every view available on YouTube TV. And God, it just keeps getting better every time I see it.
It's amazing because that last drive when Georgia was driving the ball down the field, and I think they got down to the 2-yard line, it was second down from the 2. And at that point, it's like, okay, Georgia's going to score a touchdown. All of this we got here. We've all seen this game before.
Yeah.
We all know how this ends. And then the next play, they tackled the running back for about a 3-yard loss. The whole defensive line won on that play and just met the running back in the backfield. And the next play after that, if you look at the Skycast view of that, Gunnar Stockton didn't have a player to throw to. He tried to force one into a tight end. It was broken up. It almost got intercepted. If we were going to be, it could have been picked off. And they tied the game up. Pete was a master at using his timeouts to conserve clock for a last-second drive. Listen, I can't remember a more perfect night for Ole Miss fans than that because Ole Miss got the win. The atmosphere was absolutely bonkers. There might have been 40,000 people that were Ole Miss fans in that stadium. And Ole Miss won the game with a new coach. All the catharsis that was involved with winning that game, Ole Miss fans got it.
Exactly. And we needed it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we needed it. What has happened to that team since right after Thanksgiving has been horrible. And, you know, it just got them closer together. I mean, the defense played great. You know, they only gave up 27 points, the defense did, to one of the better teams in the country. And it's just like I was reading a quote from Mario Cristobal today, not to get too far ahead, but he said this is the best team we faced all year, and it'll be the best team we will face all year. Talking about Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's the thing that got lost. And listen, our friends in the Georgia media that put in the no chance and the total joke and how Ole Miss is going to be the worst team in the SEC in 2 years. Like they were literally saying this in public. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But in that game, the better team on the football field was Ole Miss, which means the fluke was the fourth quarter in Athens. It wasn't what happened in the Sugar Bowl.
Right. Well, you know,
13 or 14-0 right now, if we're going to be.
Exactly. Well, a lot of people know I'm an engineer, and I I'm a retired engineer, but we're still engineers. And
you drive trains?
Yeah, we a sample size of 2 so far from Pete Golding, and it's not a huge sample size yet, but you see some really good things from this Pete Golding coached Rebel team. You know, they're playing hard. And like I was telling you before we came on, I don't think Lane Kiffin would have found a way to lose that football game.
He would. Could you imagine Lane Kiffin kicking a 55 and a 56-yard field goal in the first quarter?
No.
There's not a world where that happens, which means you don't have the 6-point cushion to go into it, that maybe if everything else goes the same, it's 21-6 at halftime, and that game's over.
Exactly. And we know that Lane would have done that.
Yeah, because we've seen 6 years of it.
Exactly.
We call him Big Game Lane for that. It was a sarcastic thing. Against Georgia, it was a surprise last season because that's the one time in 6 years that he coached the game like a grown-up.
Exactly. And I'll tell you something else, too. One thing that we had going for us is Kirby Lane.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, he flinched. Yeah, he blinked.
Yeah. Went for it on 4th down back in went deep in his own territory. You know? So,
then the noise, the crowd, give them credit. The crowd's the reason Suntarine Perkins was able to get to him, and that's what kind of sealed the game to me.
Oh, yeah.
It may have been tied at the end, but that's at the point where I was like, oh, we're going to win this game.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it wasn't Trinidad necessarily pulling the Archie Manning stuff, which Trinidad pulling Archie Manning moves in New Orleans on that field. That was awesome because I am too young to have seen Archie Manning play for the Saints or for Ole Miss, at that point. To see something like that, everybody's like, oh, he looks like Johnny Football. And I was like, oh, that doesn't look like Johnny Football. That looks like some stuff I've seen highlights of from back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was channeling his inner Archie Manning. I mean, that underhanded pass, and then, of course, the great one and I got to give Bryson Sanders credit.
Yes, blocking without blocking.
Oh, yeah, that's how you block and not get a flag thrown on you. So it was just our team looks disciplined. They look like they're all in. They're concentrating. They've got blinders on. And I would hate to be the University of Miami.
Yeah, I'd hate to be any of the four. And it's great that I'm not sure the total capacity, but it's close where Ole Miss might have the largest stadium of the last 4 teams that are playing.
Yeah.
You have a coach that just left for resources saying you can't win a national championship without 100,000 seat stadium and all that. And Ole Miss is sitting in the Final Four with one of the biggest stadiums left. So
I do think we have the biggest stadium. Miami has 65,000, I think, where we play, and we have 68,201 was our biggest. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. When we come back, we will talk a little bit more about this game. It was an unbelievable game. It was the biggest program win that Ole Miss has ever had. I'm talking and visiting with the mayor of Corinth. So stick around. We will be right back. Let's talk about something that most men do not want to bring up, but they absolutely should. Stress from work, money, and life, it doesn't just switch off at night. And when it shows up at the worst possible time, Rougiette Ready is designed to help you take back control. Rougiette Ready has the next generation prescription treatment created to support both the brain and the body, so you can feel present, confident, and ready when the moment matters most. Rougiette Ready combines 3 clinically proven ingredients in one mint that dissolves under your tongue so it absorbs fast. You can connect with board-certified doctors online, and everything ships discreetly to your door. It is easy to understand why over 150,000 men have already made the switch. Most men are ready in about 15 minutes on average, so you can stay present, confident, and in control when the moment is right. If you've been thinking about taking the next step, now is the time. Head to rougiette.com/lockedoncollege. That's RUGIET.com/lockedoncollege to get 15% off your order for a limited time. Rougiette Ready. Feel present, feel confident, feel ready. Do us a favor, like, subscribe, and comment on the video. Subscribe to the podcast on whichever audio podcast you're listening to and give it a 5-star review. It costs absolutely nothing, but it helps keeps all of this free. Thank you for making Locked On Ole Miss your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Ole Miss with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and even more. All of that for just $5 per month or $50 per year. Go to lockedonolemist.supercast.com or check the link down in the show notes to learn a little bit more. All right, Tom, one thing that was interesting to me, and we talked in the first segment about Kirby blinking, and Pete Golding in his second game made Kirby Smart, who is the current GOAT in all of college football, blink. It was one of those situations where he was panicking. He had to steal possessions. He knew he was on the ropes. And Pete Golding was able to do that. And it was the fake punt that told me that Kirby doesn't think he can win this game straight up. Kirby doesn't believe that they can beat Ole Miss, because if you're trying to trick Ole Miss, you can't just line up and beat them, because I'm going to tell you right now, Nick Saban would have kept punting the ball and played defense and just waited to get it back. But Kirby is like, we're going to get blown out if I don't do something.
Yeah, and to be completely honest with you, you got to think of that defensive line for Ole Miss. Like I said, I went back and watched this thing multiple times. They were every bit as dominant of a defensive line as our defensive line was last year. Maybe even more so. Will Eccles, Xavion Harris.
Xavion had 10 tackles.
Yeah.
And as a nose guard, had 10 tackles.
Yeah. They were all over it, and our defensive ends played good. Our linebackers played good. We had good secondary play. Yeah. We really did. Wyatt Williams showed up and showed out.
Yeah. Pete said in August that the standard is the standard, and we think the defensive line is going to look like the 2024 defensive line, and only the name's going to change. That defensive line looked like that last night or the other night.
Yeah.
It was something else. And here's the thing. Take away Xavion Harris, who had a massive game. He's absolutely huge. Everyone else for Ole Miss is coming back.
Oh, yeah.
They have a chance to be nasty on the defensive front. And if they upgrade at linebacker, find 2, because I think they would need 2. Maybe Daughtery's back, but find somebody to pair with him.
Yeah.
That Chris Paul, that Andrew Jones type makes this defense work. And Ole Miss, it appears, is going pretty hard in the secondary market in the early part of the transfer portal window. I like what this looks like. And I have said since August, this Ole Miss football team will go as far as the front 7 will take them.
Yep.
And that is proving true. And now they're playing the best offensive line they're going to see. Yeah. And the defensive line has to be ready to go to work, or else Mark Fletcher and those guys are going to run it down your throat.
I agree.
Yeah, it's all in this front seven. They played a special game. It's time to play another special game.
Yeah, there's a I've got a relative that's a high school football coach, head coach, and he said, "Yeah, Miami's defense is awesome." And I said, "Yeah, they are, but they have not seen an offense like Ole Miss this year. Haven't seen them, and we haven't seen."
Yeah, we have. They're good, but it's probably Oklahoma is what you're looking at.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. They got a very good defense, but so did Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. So did Georgia.
And I think they're going to be down a cornerback, which is not a good situation at any point.
No. And we've played teams with, I know Bain's a special player, but
really special.
Yeah. But we played teams with special players already this year. Mm-hmm. And our offensive line.
Do you remember? And I'm not going to call anybody out by name. I'm not saying that. But do you remember way back in September when they were talking about how the Ole Miss offensive line is going to be the Achilles heel of this team?
Yeah,
that they might have the best offensive line in the SEC.
Oh, yeah, exactly. They just had to have time to gel.
Yep,
they were brand new. They had to get time to get to know one another. It doesn't happen overnight. And you look at Pat Kudus and Bryson Sanders.
The interior of that offensive line is amazing, and the tackles are great too.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. The tackles are awesome. Mm-hmm. But the two guards in the center, I never would have thought. Never would have thought that they would have been that good. So I'm really looking forward to it. I really think that we should. I know we're not favored, but I really do think that we win this game.
I know we can. I have no doubt that Ole Miss can win I think Ole Miss can beat every team that's left playing football.
I do too. Right now,
you line up, like they say, spot the ball. This Ole Miss team can win the national title, and that is crazy to think of at this point. Everybody likes to talk about me on Pumping Sunshine.
Yeah.
And all of this, and I'm like, it's not hyperbolic. Ole Miss can beat every team left playing football in America and win the national title. And just 45 days ago, we were being told that could never be done at Ole Miss.
Exactly. And what should have been said is he didn't think he could ever do it at Ole Miss.
That there's some truth to that, honestly. Yeah. There's a lot of truth to that because, listen, Lane does a really good job at roster building, but his Achilles heel is the way he coaches the game. He plays the slot machine, which means every year it's not going to work out. The house is going to win from time to time when you play a slot machine. And because of that, he needs like elite Alabama level athletes. So he's trying to find that so that can be forgiving of what he had. So it's the opposite of 2024 when he had one of the best rosters in college football, but his slot machine was his undoing. Yeah. He's kind of hoping at LSU he's able to get into the field. But I like you said in the first segment, Lane Kiffin doesn't beat Georgia. He doesn't. He does not win that game.
No, he would not. He would let analytics and going forward on fourth down.
And pride and ego talk him into it.
Sir?
And pride and ego.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
So we'll see what happens. All right, when we come back, we are going to talk more with Tom Vanderford about this game and move on to the Fiesta Bowl in Glendale, Arizona, one of the few major bowls that Ole Miss has never played in. They get that opportunity on Thursday night. We'll talk about that, so stick around. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better every Friday night before the games tip off. FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new, either boosts or bonuses or surprises. It is easy to check the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. The timing is perfect, right before the games, right before the weekend starts. It adds extra energy to Friday night basketball without overthinking it. So before tip-off, check out the FanDuel app and see what is dropping on NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 Eastern. It's a little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. All right, Tommy, one thing that is interesting, you had the Miami Hurricanes. We talked about that a little bit in the second segment, the game out in Glendale, Arizona. It was one of those things to where I think I've heard rumors. I have not gotten this confirmed, but the rumor is to get tickets to the first playoff game, you basically had to pledge for tickets to Glendale and the Sugar Bowl and even through the national championship to ensure that those tickets get sold or something like that. That's the rumor that I heard. And if that's the case, I don't know what to expect in this game because everybody bought those ticket packages for the Sugar Bowl and potentially for the national championship, but they were only thinking about the Sugar Bowl. And going back and forth, you're like, okay, we're playing Miami and Arizona. Their Ole Miss is going to travel well because they always travel well. But I think that game may be the dip before everybody thinking hopefully they can get to Miami. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. I did notice the tickets that there were some reasonable ticket prices out there.
Which is new.
Yeah. And it won't be like that if we make it to Miami.
No, if Ole Miss makes it to Miami, I already am working on credentials for that game.
Good.
And trying to get it. And at that point, I'm just going to hop on the bullet train and go down to Miami and check that out. I mean, that's like a 2-hour train ride for me. Okay. So I think that's the direction that I am going to go. I don't know if I've ever taken a long train ride that is like multiple hours. So it'll be interesting to see what's up there. But I don't know what the content plan is. I've mixed it up this week because the college football playoff, they need to get to the point where games are played on Saturday. Yeah. These weird days are just weird. New Year's Day was on Thursday. I get that. And then the next week you play on a Thursday for no reason. And that screws up the content calendar for everybody and the way the internal clock for everybody. Like tomorrow, I'm having to start my shows because tomorrow is a typical Tuesday in game week.
Right.
Even though it's a Sunday. So you have to jumpstart because you have this motion, this rhythm of how you do content. You got to figure out, like, do the math backwards to where it actually fits. Like 9:00 Monday night, I'm talking to Alex Dono of Locked On Canes to get ready for the crossover that's going to air Tuesday morning. And Wednesday's Why Ole Miss Wins and, have Bill Flowers or something like that on Thursday morning. There's a weird schedule. I just am ready for Ole Miss to kind of get ready for this. And what I can't get away from, okay, Miami has a really good good defense.
Yes, they do.
Really good. Have they played anybody that runs tempo this year besides SMU? Because SMU beat them.
I don't think they're going to do good with tempo.
I'm curious about that. I'm curious to see if this is a football game or whatever. I'm going to have to dig in tomorrow to the Miami Hurricanes and what they look like defensively and kind of get to know them before I do the crossover and all that and do my homework. But that is the question that I have going into this is how will they react to tempo?
Yeah, and I can guarantee you one thing. I mean, we may win, we may not, but I can guarantee you one thing. Our offense is a heck of a lot better than SMU's offense.
Yeah, our offense it's the best offense in the country.
I agree.
Yeah, and I don't think it's particularly close because, listen, if the only chance you have to stop our offense is a too high shell running two safeties
Yeah.
So you can double that. But if you do that, you have to be able to stop the run. If they can run the ball, it's over because you have to move a safety in the box. Look at the 3rd and 5 play. I spent last week was my Mona Lisa of breakdowns. Honestly, it was fantastic. It was. I hate to toot my own horn. I actually don't, but yeah, whatever. But I said all week the goal in the game is to run the ball or be effective in the middle of the field to the point where Georgia has to designate a safety into the box to stop the run or get after the passer. On that 3rd and 5 that they completed the pass to Deshaun Stribling at the end of the game that got them into field goal range, Georgia walked a safety into the box to bring it, to put heat on Trinidad. It left one-on-one coverage outside, and they got popped.
Exactly.
It's one of those things that, as good as Georgia is, that is the way you handle it. Georgia beats you by stopping the run and playing a too high shell. That's how they stop you. You have to make Miami not play a too high shell. It's the same rules.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is one thing that we need to think about. Not only do us Ole Miss homers think that this team can win a national championship, this team knows they can win a national championship.
Yeah. Yeah, it's they're at the point of believing.
Yep.
For instance, do you remember in the 2022 baseball run that Ole Miss had for the national championship? Let me tell you where this Ole Miss football team is right now. Ole Miss just had a one hitter or whatever it is by Dylan DeLucia against the Arkansas Razorbacks to get to the series. That's where Ole Miss realized that they could win this thing.
Exactly.
Whenever everything was, we can do this. They are at that point. And with Miami, it's like game 1 of the Oklahoma series. And this football team believes, just flat out believes they're the best team in the country and they're going to win it all.
They do. Mm-hmm. And as far as I'm concerned, out of the 4 teams left, they are the best team.
Yeah. All right, Tommy. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, that's it, man. That's all I wanted to say.
All right. Thank you so much. We will talk to Tommy after the Miami game in Glendale, Arizona. The timing of the way it is, he usually is on there on Friday night, but we will talk to Tommy after the game and get his reaction. Tom, thank you very much for stopping by, man.
Hey, hotty toddy.
Hotty toddy. Thanks again for tuning into the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. We're going to continue to talk about Ole Miss versus Miami all week long, so make sure you subscribe and follow the show to make sure you get all of the latest episodes. We're on all the social channels, so check that out as well. Did Locked On Ole Miss make your Spotify Wrap? Proven on social media to secure a free month of the brand new Everydayer Club. Just tag our national Locked On podcast network account on any social platform, and we will drop you the code. Be the first to join the Everydayer Club to get your favorite show ad-free and exclusive access to the members-only Discord channel. For those of you on video, we're going to send you the first ever national 24/7 Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you get a second listen, either Locked On SEC or Locked On College Football, or heck, even Locked On Vandy would be a pretty cool second listen. Ole Miss has the biggest game in football program history in just a couple of days, and that is awesome. Hotty toddy, everybody. We have a full show tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Tune in for that. Hotty toddy.